Welcome. This is our health channel. I'm Dr. Justin Lin. We're shooting here in my clinic at Rehab and Biophysical Therapy in Tustin, California. Our health channel is created for us by one of us. Not too long ago was I where you're at, wondering all these different health questions, how to sift through about wellness, fitness, and injuries. All the information out there, how do you really understand what the true source is, and does it even make sense? So sit back, relax, and learn. Because after all, this is our health. Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Justin Lin. This is our health channel. I'm your host. Today, I want to talk about a little bit more serious matters, maybe a little bit less scientific, but I think the value of self-worth and understanding how it role plays in our health is a very critical piece. So I had a discussion yesterday with a friend of mine. She wanted to introduce this great plan. She said, Justin, why don't you start an after-school program to help young girls, achieve fitness, because she's got a daughter somewhere around 9, 10, 11, 12. I said, wouldn't that be a great idea to do an after-school program? And immediately I thought, well, there's a lot more to it. And I came with a little bit of hesitation, but I said to her, I said, look, I was like, girls that age don't really need physical fitness. I was like, they need mental fitness. They need psychological fitness. And it's not just girls that age, but it's just kids that age, whether it's 9, 10, 11, 12. I think a lot of it does come down to parenting. That I will say for probably another soapbox. But when it comes to that age, it's really critical. I was an overweight child. I was abused by classmates, and I was bullied, and I was, told to do certain things, and they ridiculed me throughout my life. That's a little something that happens around that age, and I've taken that anger, I've taken that frustration myself, and I've driven myself to the point where I am today. And so, this is something I want to share about myself, but I think this is an important piece of my own health that I've gone through. But back to the conversation I had with my friend, and I just basically told her that health, the spectrum of health has to not just include the body, but it's got to include the psychological, it's got to include the emotional, it's got to include even the spiritual, and that's wellness. And I talked about it in NPR CrossFit radio excerpt about a few months ago about wellness versus fitness. But you need mental fitness. You need the ability to be tough. And you have the ability to love and respect yourself. I think that's at that age group, at any age group, learning the worth and the value of self-love, self-respect comes down to your ability to heal, to cope, and have the capacity to move on and have hope. And I think that's the major part of the journey of healing. I've come across patients and people I've had relationships with who have been sexually abused, and that unfortunately takes a toll on someone's ability to heal, ability to cope, despair. And I think, there needs to be lessons. I think, whether it's through physical activity, a lot of times, there's two ways. People become more victimized or people become more defiant and go the other way in terms of sexual abuse or verbal abuse or any kind of abuse for that matter, whether it's of that nature, to a young child, to a woman, to a boy, to a man. I think the correct way to start is being able to talk to yourself, actualize, learn to forgive yourself because it's not your fault, and be more proactive, seek the right help. I would highly recommend going to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and talking these things out. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean there's something going on. But one of these days I'll have a psychiatrist come in, or a psychologist, and we're going to talk about this very thing, this very nature of what it does to people. But in the meantime, just as a professional, I know this comes down to more than just physical fitness, because the way this world is going with the internet and all this information, kids don't know what to do with it. And I think that's where education, and we can go into politics a little later, but understanding the ability to sort the right information. If you have role models like a Miley Cyrus or a Justin Bieber, these kids are going to grow up to be something like that. They think that's okay. So really to bring it back down, to control what is going on in their environment, because there's so much information. If you're on Facebook, it's like, oh, look, my life is better than your life. And, then that kind of devalues yourself. And you're like, well, I want to be just as good as them. But then you're chasing extrinsic properties, not your intrinsic properties within yourself, your spiritual journey. You're like, well, I'm doing okay today. Today, I got an A, and that's great. Or today, I made a new friend, instead of, I want to be even better than that guy, or that girl. And, oh, that guy's got, all the girls, or that girl's got all the guys, or, she looks great, she's slim, they drive a nice car. There's so many things. There's always more of that out there. And that's going to drive you crazy, because just even in my own journey, you start realizing that these things, they weigh you down. There's so much burden on them. And if your kids are running through this, if you are running through this, then you've got to get your head straight. You've got to get the right people in your life. You got to enrich your life. Give yourself that worth. Now, I don't have a lot of capital. If you look at my car, I drive a 2003 Maxima, and it's old, but you know what? I love driving it, and it's great. I feel good in it. It still moves, but I don't need a lot. What I tell people is I don't have monetary capital, I don't have asset capital, but I've got human capital. I've got great interns, I've got a great family, I've got awesome patients that, would fight for me. I know if something bad happened to me. So, start putting more value into that. Start putting value into great relationships. Start, mentoring students. Or if you're a student, start being appreciative of what you have and learning from the best and getting the right help. And then, like I said, if you really get a chance to have an opportunity, if you're at school, you're at college, having a school counselor, a school psychologist, they're great resources. Learning and asking for help is probably the first step to understanding what self-worth is and the value of that. That goes beyond fitness, that goes beyond healing your body. But you got to heal yourself first to allow your body to get healed. And so this is why this segment's a little bit more important to me, because I see it on a day-to-day basis. And I have to ask patients, I have to even ask myself to dig deep. And you got to look deep. And you got to look deep inside to see who you really are. Can you handle something and block out something? And, you have to really ask these questions. You have to understand that it really doesn't matter what's out there, and the matter is with you, and it starts with you. So start investing in yourself. Start learning about yourself. Start learning about your body. Start learning about what makes things work in your life, not what life works for you. I always tell people, I think the greatest thing about living and growing is our understanding of the world and the world's understanding of how we fit in this world. And so, this is kind of the journey that I go through, and I try to take patients through this, and I think, this is something good to realize and actualize, and it's more than just trying to have a nice body. It's more than just, having the nice things in life, because really if all these things are off key, off axis, then you really have something you need to work on, and you really have to dig deep, and you really have to, go a little bit further and ask the tough questions. You know, I think Eleanor Roosevelt says, you know, if you ask the tough questions every day, I'm not quoting correctly, but if you ask the tough questions every day, the tough questions are going to come easier and easier. And you know, so on a serious note, this is your health, this is my health, and this is our health. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.